A small schooner sails south, 1863, chasing a rumor of tin at the edge of the world. Weeks later, the ship is gone. 5 men are left on a sub-Antarctic island, where storms never stop, where rescue never comes, and where waiting means death. So they don't wait. They build a shelter, they build tools, they build a forge, and finally, they build a 17-foot boat and point it at one of the deadliest oceans on Earth. This isn't a story about luck. This is a story about discipline, engineering, and leadership under pressure. This is the true survival story of Thomas Musgrave and the Grafton castaways. Sydney Harbor, December 12, 1863. Morning light turns the water silver. The port is alive with trade, wool, timber, coal, people. This was the age of maritime speculation. Gold had reshaped Australia. But by the 1860s, attention shifted. Tin, copper, iron, steady profit, if you were bold enough to look. And bold men looked south. At the southern edge of those ambitions, the Southern Ocean. Below 40 degrees south, storms were not events. They were the baseline, the furious 50s. That's what sailors called it. Waves built over thousands of miles of open water. Wind that never eased. Cold that seeped into hulls and bones alike. The vessel was the Grafton, just over 80 tons, 2 masts, a coastal schooner pointed at the worst ocean on Earth. She was never meant to linger in southern latitudes. Standing on deck that morning was Thomas Musgrave, 42 years old, American by birth, more than 20 years at sea, not celebrated for bravado, but for discipline. He kept meticulous records, bearings, distances, weather observations. He wrote things down because he understood how quickly memory fails under fatigue. 4 men sailed with him. François Reynaud, French engineer, trained in metallurgy, could apply abstract knowledge with his hands. Alec McLaren, Scottish mate, steady, emotionally restrained, the spine that holds a small crew upright. George Harris, Portuguese, strong, skilled in hunting. He knew how to kill efficiently and without hesitation. Henry Forster, Norwegian, young and inexperienced. But he listened. He learned fast. In harsh environments, that matters more than prior expertise. By late December, the Auckland Islands emerged from the mist. Cliffs dropped straight into surf. Dense vegetation clung to steep hillsides. Rain fell in slanted sheets. On the night of January 3rd, 1864, the anchor dragged. All night, 5 men fought to keep the schooner off the rocks. Near dawn, a sound changed, a dull grinding, then a crack. Grafton struck. Musgrave gave the order without hesitation. Abandon ship, no panic, no ceremony. They lowered the dinghy, grabbed the compass, the quadrant, the firearms, whatever they could carry, then turned to watch Grafton die. Survival would not be given. It would have to be constructed. From the first day ashore, Musgrave imposed structure. Days were counted, a calendar maintained, meals shared, Sundays observed. Structure wasn't comfort. It was survival technology. They built a cabin from the forest around them, felled trees by hand, stacked logs, sealed gaps, built a stone fireplace. They named it Epigwait, a word meaning refuge. Seals hauled out on the rocks in large numbers. George Harris led the hunts. Meat became food, fat became oil, skin became clothing. Nothing was wasted. François Reynaud did something extraordinary. From scraps of iron salvaged from the wreck, he built a forge. Using bellows fashioned from seal skins and scrap wood, he reached temperatures high enough to work iron. He fabricated tools, chisels, brackets, nails, fittings, a forge, on a sub-Antarctic island, built by hand, from nothing. Because of that forge, everything that came next became possible. The decision was made in the second winter. They would not wait. They would build a boat and sail for New Zealand, 460 miles north, across the worst stretch of ocean most sailors had ever seen. The boat was 17 feet long, built from timber stripped from the surrounding forest, ribs bent over steam, planks caulked with seal fat and salvage tar, fittings forged by Reynaud's hand. It took months. On July 19, 1865, 19 months after the wreck, the boat was launched. They named her Rescue. 3 days of sailing, through Southern Ocean swells that dwarfed the tiny hull, navigation by compass and quadrant and stars when the clouds broke. No shelter, no margin, no second chances. On the first night, a storm hit. Waves climbed higher than the mast. The 5 men bailed with their hands. Musgrave steered by feel as much as instrument. They did not stop. They did not turn back. On July 22nd, land appeared on the horizon. Stewart Island, New Zealand. They had made it. But Thomas Musgrave was not finished. 2 men had been too weak to make the crossing. They were still on the island, still waiting in the cabin called Epigwait. Before Musgrave had fully recovered, he was already organizing a rescue expedition. He chartered a vessel. He briefed the crew himself. He pointed the bow south again, back into the furious 50s, back to the island he had barely escaped. He arrived. He found them. He brought them home. All 5 men survived. Every single one. The journal Musgrave had kept, every single day for 19 months, was published the following year. It wasn't celebrated as an adventure story. It was read as something more useful. A manual, a case study in how men survive, not through luck or inspiration, but through system, discipline, and the refusal to stop building. The Auckland Islands are still there, unchanged. The Southern Ocean still circles them without mercy. And somewhere in that dark forest, the remains of Epigwait still stand, moss-covered logs, the ghost of a fireplace, proof that discipline can outlast catastrophe. Not because it is dramatic, but because it works. The sea doesn't care what you believe. It only responds to what you build.
History unlocked. See you next time.